Welcome to Clinical Perspectives, the podcast where we explore the real challenges, insights, and decisions shaping the medical device industry. I'm Stephanie Stover, and each episode I speak with leaders, innovators, and experts across medtech to uncover what actually drives product success, regulatory strategy, and commercial growth. If you work in medical devices, healthcare technology, or life sciences, this show is for you. Today I'm joined by Greg Kennebeck, Head of Sales and Marketing at ProMed Solutions. Great to have you on the show, Greg.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So to start us off, can you give us a quick overview of your background and how you ended up in the aesthetic medical device space?
Well, got involved in diagnostic imaging back in the late 90s and just always been in capital equipment. And not too long after that, I found aesthetic industry was starting to grow with microdermabrasions and, the laser technology was growing very quickly. And I just had a fascination with that. And so I just kind of pivoted from imaging into aesthetics and haven't looked back since.
Fantastic. So I suspect you've seen a lot of cycles and shifts in the industry. What feels meaningfully different right now compared to when you first started?
We're kind of heading into people are looking for more non-invasive, quick treatments that deliver results. And so that's been the challenge for a lot of manufacturers is to try to provide patients with meaningful results with the least amount of downtime. And that's what I think ultimately what people are looking for. And I think the next step is, and you can start to see it today, is we're looking for more natural looking, non-surgical progress.
Okay. So, of the technologies that you work with today, which one do you think fits that description best?
Well, there's really two categories because there's medical and then there's non-medical services. Obviously, on the medical side, there's a lot of different solutions, but they tend to be more minimally invasive that can drive a lot quicker results. On the skincare side, there's going to be more gradual because they cannot be as aggressive. But there's quite a few different products that you can utilize. And for us on the skincare side, we offer a couple technologies such as cold plasma, which is a neat emerging technology that can be utilized with a combination of other tools. We also use another non-invasive solution called cool lifting, which is utilizing CO2 gas with additives. And a new technology we just brought on is using magnetic infusion technology. And on the medical side, there's a couple different products such as Agnes Medical that utilizes radio frequency, where there's a little bit more downtime, but the results are pretty phenomenal and a little bit, it's minimally invasive. And then there's some other RF devices that are pending FDA for like visceral fat reduction, which is a pretty exciting opportunity.
So, what typically holds clinics back from adopting these new technologies like cold plasma and the others that you mentioned?
That's a great question. I mean, there's been a lot of hesitancy on spending. Traditionally, a lot of these, especially on the medical side, there's been a tremendous amount of investment that typically needs to be bought into for achieving this. Like in the beginning, these systems were selling anywhere from $200 to $300,000, and as the industry grows and a lot of these med spas are popping up, there's becoming more and more competition. So the services can be a little diluted. So they want to be a little bit more careful on their purchases. Obviously, when the technology is new and very promising, they're excited to do so. They just, like any good business owner, they want to be careful on their capital equipment purchases.
Okay. So, you work with clinics at very different stages. What patterns do you see in the ones that scale successfully?
I think it's comes down with a careful analysis on their return on their investment. I think the people that are very careful to really analyze, most importantly, the people that are successful, that service needs to make sense for their particular clinic. I think there's a big problem with people thinking they like the idea and they've made a lot of promises for the return on their investments. And so they buy into it without really clearly thinking it through whether or not they really want to sell those services. And so we see a lot of clinics that jump on the bandwagon too quickly, and because this clinic and that clinic down the street is doing it, and then I think they get a lot of pressure from sales reps and manufacturers as well. And so you just need to do a really good analysis on whether or not it's going to be right for you, and that you got to want to really sell that service and believe in that service.
Mhm. When you're selling any of ProMed Beauty's products into a clinic, how do you walk them through the process of which of your products is going to be most beneficial and get them the highest ROI for their clinic?
Well, typically what we want to do is we want to look at what kind of services that they're currently offering and see if this makes sense. Because a lot of times new treatments are synergistic with other services that they're already offering in their clinic. And so those tend to work out the best because you can marry the services together. And it helps those clinics to ramp up and start to be able to combine treatments together. It is a little bit of a challenge. I mean, it certainly can be done with the proper marketing to their existing client base for adding a brand new service. But it really helps jumpstart the clinic when you can bring in and stack treatments, essentially,
Mm.
is what people are starting to do a lot more, utilizing the services they already have and then adding these additional technologies into the clinic.
So, what constraints do most clinics run into that slows down their growth, even when the demand's there?
Yeah. Okay. So I do believe it's having the right resources and people in place to realize that dream of adding a new service to a clinic. You get excited, you want to do it. And then if you're a solo practitioner, then you got to figure out how you can manage your existing clients and how are you going to integrate this new service or tool into the clinic. Even if you're not a solo practitioner, you got to get everybody else to buy in on this new service. And or if you don't already have staff, you got to think about, okay, so now I need to get some new people to facilitate and offer, to actually do these treatments. And even if they are, you got to get these people to buy in and to promote the service. And even if they're doing other services, to talk about this new service to get their clients excited about trying a new treatment.
Okay. Does ProMed Beauty support your clients in that process?
What we try to do is we try to understand what the clinic is really looking for, and do they have the resources for people to facilitate this new type of treatment. As a solo practitioner, we help to educate them on how they can combine it with existing services, or to how to create a new treatment package. And then we also provide them with the correct marketing tools to reach out to their existing base, because that's the low-lying fruit, and rather than having to also invest money and time in hiring or doing even their own social media. So we try to give them as many tools as possible to be successful when they are integrating a new technology into the clinic.
Okay. So speaking on social media and in that area, you mentioned previously that trade shows are still necessary but not sufficient anymore. Where are buying decisions being made today, and does social media have a part in that?
As manufacturers, they definitely need to be present at these trade shows just to show awareness. And you do generate leads, and you do get practitioners to get some hands on feel. But I mean, really, I think the target marketing of using social media is probably the most effective. And that's where a lot of money and resources are heading towards. I mean, because I'll walk into offices and ask them what's the next show they're going to, and they say, we don't do trade shows anymore.
Hmm.
We see a lot of, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn, where you see these posts about new technologies, or a lot of it comes from referrals from other practitioners. So, I mean, I think that's where the industry is headed. I don't think we'll ever get rid of trade shows, but I think across the board, you'll see a lot of frustration amongst manufacturers and distributors of product that it's not like the olden days where trade shows were the best allocation of resources for marketing.
Yeah. What would you say is I guess, the hot topic in the industry right now in terms of new technology?
Well, it's slowly developing. It's not really new, but cold plasma technology here in the States has been growing over the last couple of years. It's been utilized in other parts of the world for a number of years. There's a lot of amazing new tools within cold plasma for rejuvenating the skin, dare I say it, the FDA is listening, wound healing. Because really what it comes down to as it's restrictions on what we can and cannot say, whether a product is indicated for. So it depends on the level of the indication to allow the practitioner to utilize it within their clinic. But
Hmm.
cold plasma is and will be and continuing to be a very fast growing segment within the aesthetic industry. And I know a couple different manufacturers that are working on some pretty incredible indications. And so the dermatology industry will be seeing that probably in the next 1 or 2 years. We do offer a cold plasma device that doesn't have any true indication for specific skin diseases, but it can be used for general aesthetic for killing any bacteria on the skin. It does help stimulate the skin barrier to repair, and it's a great tool that's utilized. The medical community is slowly catching on. It's kind of interesting that the aesthetic community has seen it, and that's where the growth is coming from
Oh,
in here in the U.S. And because it's completely non-invasive and delivers real results. I mean, that's one of the exciting technologies that everyone, I would say anybody that's treating skin in the next 5 to 10 years will be having a cold plasma tool in their practice for sure.
really? Would you say that that's your top selling medical device right now?
Well, yeah. So cold plasma is probably one of our best selling devices. We are the national distributor for a product called Cool Lifting as well. It's not really a new technology. It's been around since 2015. It utilizes CO2 gas with our additives to stimulate microcirculation and immediately tighten and lift the skin. It is a temporary tool, but with long-term use, you can get long-term results of stimulating collagen growth and the like. That's kind of our flagship tool. We've been selling and distributing that product exclusively here in the US for 4 years. And our clients that utilize that, they just seem to love it. Their patients and clients love it. It's instant. There's no downtime, a hydrated skin, tightened skin. It's a fun product too. It's only 3 minutes. Anybody can do it. It's very simple to use. There's a new emerging technology that we just started adopting here. It's called magnetic infusion technology. We're just launching it here. We're going to be going to a trade show in a few weeks, and that's pretty exciting. Look out for that. That's been around the world and just new to the US. And so again, non-invasive, as we have discussed before. Patients love it, clinics love it, simple to use, a low cost entry point to purchase for the clinic, and driving results and driving revenue. And that's
Hmm.
ultimately what clinics are looking for.
So what is the typical ROI on those two products for your clients?
So the in monetary value, looking at for the cool lifting for 3 minutes of your time, you're looking at about $75 for 3 minutes of your time.
Wow.
Which is a pretty nice add-on to your existing services. And then we have the new that's for the cool lifting, and then for the cold plasma, that's typically anywhere between a 10 and 20-minute treatment. There are no consumables involved in that, so you're basically getting about between 150 and 225 for that service. And then for this new technology called the Wish Pro, which is the magnetic infusion technology, you're realizing about $150 in profit for that service.
Hmm. So how do you typically get in front of potential clients or new clinics or med spas?
Our focus, I mean, aside from the main trade shows that we attend every year, our focus has really been driving through Instagram and recently through LinkedIn. We're
Oh,
finding that LinkedIn has been a powerful tool for networking and sharing new technologies for people that are looking for that. We want to help clinics really realize some new technology without the pressure of the typical car salesman mentality. We want to provide information, provide the tools, explain the technology, and let the technician decide whether it's right for them. And so we've been heavily invested into the LinkedIn and Instagram. That's really been our primary focus.
Fantastic. If you were advising a clinic owner planning their next major investment, what would you tell them to prioritize right now?
Good question. I would try to incorporate a technology that can slide into existing menu services so that you're not having to create a whole new menu line item. I think a lot of, as I mentioned before, this stacking of treatments has become pretty prominent within the industry. They realize that I think a lot of skincare clinics, from the feedback we're hearing, is they're really not charging for an individual treatment. They're charging for a rejuvenation services, and they will decide which tools they want to use depending on what type of skin conditions they're treating or what the goals are of the patient slash client. And then they'll charge a certain fee for that. And then, but they'll utilize a variety of different tools, serums, and what have you, and then get people to come and sell that into a treatment package. And I think that's really what I think I would advise these clients is, where can you slide in a new technology and incorporate a stacking where you're going to get results without any downtime, and where these your clients are going to want to come back for monthly or bi-monthly services.
So what would you say is a typical or common bundle that you see that works well?
Well, with our particular products, we always utilize cold plasma. Cold plasma can be incorporated into pretty much all services, whether you're a medical clinic or if you're just a skincare clinic. We have medical clinics utilizing that prior to doing Botox injections, fillers, laser treatments, chemical peels. And then on the skincare side, they're utilizing that prior to doing like dermaplaning or microneedling. And it just makes all their existing services outcomes even better. So cold plasma is an example of interjecting. And we have a couple other products such as a new colostrum peel we're finding that you can incorporate into a lot of existing treatments, again, such as Botox or microneedling or laser treatments. And so, those services are really where you're seeing those treatments being stacked, and the results are non-invasive and are minimally invasive, and clients are loving them. I mean, they just, and that's the most important thing. You're doing these treatments to deliver results for your clients.
Is there a unique bundle that you've seen that you were surprised by that's worked really well?
Yeah, so we've utilized cold plasma, and then people will use some type of exfoliation, and then they'll do either microneedling or dermaplaning or a peel. And then the next step, they would utilize our cool lifting system. And at the end, the very final thing, they would utilize red light therapy if they have it. Typical stacking treatment is providing some really, really fantastic results and addressing a lot of different skin conditions.
Fantastic. Almost done here. I have a few more questions. What would you say is ProMed Beauty's biggest challenge right now in terms of getting the word out to new clients?
I wish trade shows were more effective. I mean, back in the day, we were doing about 10 trade shows a year, and it seemed like a good tool. But it's just for the cost keeps going up and up. And, it's to do a trade show and to bring your staff and to pay for the show and lodging. You're talking anywhere from ten to $20,000 a trade show. So it makes a little, and as you know, everybody's utilizing their phone for messaging, and they're on their phones probably, I'm guessing, on an average of 9 to 10 hours a day. And so really, I think that makes more economical sense on to use that. So it's just a matter of finding the right trends of what is going to attract our potential clients to get them interested. And I think that's really the biggest challenge is, the society has a very short attention span as time goes on. And so you have to really deliver the message within under 3 seconds. And if you can't
True.
do that, you're missing out. And that's been the challenge is we want to explain our technology, but it's really difficult to do that in 3 seconds. So, you need to consult with some marketing experts and figure out how to convey that message the best you can. And so that's been our challenge.
Okay. Last question. If there's one thing you wish more practitioners understood about innovation in this space, what would it be?
I know understand for the practitioner, they're bombarded from a lot of different angles every day from reps selling all types of services and products. I think and that's a big challenge for us is because there's so much information, there's so little there's a finite amount of time that an individual has. And so
Mhm.
it's really that's a challenge is to grab the attention of the doctors or estheticians or nurse practitioners that are doing these services. And you got to capture them as like, look, this is the products at least we offer are non-invasive and very impactful to your patients. And the entry level point for our products on 90% of the products we offer are under $10,000. And so I generally when they're looking at new technologies, they're not used to seeing technologies below that price point.
Mhm.
And so I think they did just kind of say, oh, that's not very expensive. It can't really do that much. And so I think that's been, if I could ask them, say, look, give us a minute to explain and share with you that you don't need to spend hundreds of $1,000s to deliver results. There are some products that don't cost an arm and a leg that can be very beneficial to your patients and your clients. So, I mean, that's really give us a chance to share with you that you don't have to invest a lot of money to deliver results with some new technologies. Take a
Mhm.
serious look at those. They don't have to be exorbitant in pricing in order to make a difference.
So this might be a weird question. If that's their mindset, why not increase the pricing?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, a lot of the products that we offer are sold to skincare providers. And if you increase the pricing, then you increase the cost of the service. And that makes
Oh.
that for the skincare providers, that's very difficult to do that. On the medical side, not as much of a challenge because typically they're providing a medical service. And medical services are going to generally cost more. And so, I mean, that's really kind of the crux of it all. For the average esthetician, I would say the threshold for a budget is around $5,000 to $6,000. A very small percentage of them can go above that. I would say probably less than 20% of estheticians can afford to pay something over that amount. But on the medical side, obviously, that price point is not of concern.
That makes sense. Any last piece of advice or thoughts you'd like to leave listeners with?
Well, as you know, we weren't given these questions, so
That's
it's
fine. If you
so I
don't, that's
tried.
fine.
No, no, I'm just trying to think. I you know what? I think a little bit is, give your sales rep a chance to share with you in a respectful manner some a little bit of time so that we can share with you some new technologies. And if it's not the right time or place, that's fine. But at least give people the chance to share with you what's new, what's exciting, what they have to offer. And as long as they do it respectfully, you should give everybody the time, just like you would want that as well. I mean, I think honestly that sometimes I feel that so many people and I get it, we're bombarded every day with solicitations and but we're really just trying to help you. We want to help you succeed. We want to help you provide the right services and share with you new technologies that are really going to benefit your clients first and foremost, and then at the end of the day that's going to help benefit your bottom line.
Mhm. If someone's interested in contacting you and getting more information on your products, where can they do that?
So yeah, you can go directly to our website. Our website is promedbeauty.com. You can also find us on Instagram, as we talked about before, which is ProMed Beauty USA. And we typically post 2 or 3 exciting reels or stories on there. But you're welcome to look a little bit deeper into our technologies on our website, or you can give us a call at our phone number is listed 20. You can reach us by phone. We're located in Southern California, so our hours are between 8 and 5 every day. But you can also text that number. And we would love to hear from you. Love to share you what we have and how we can help you be successful in uh, treating your clients.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. You can find Greg at promedbeauty.com. Give him a follow as well, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Stephanie.